Most people don't think twice about how they defrost chicken. It feels like one of the simplest parts of cooking, something automatic that doesn't really matter as long as the chicken eventually softens enough to cook. You take it out of the freezer, leave it somewhere, maybe try to speed things up if you're in a hurry, and move on. It seems harmless. But here's the part most people never stop to consider. This step is not just about convenience. It's one of the most important points for food safety, and doing it the wrong way can quietly create the exact conditions that allow harmful bacteria to grow without any visible warning. Because freezing doesn't actually eliminate bacteria, it only slows them down. The moment chicken begins to thaw, those bacteria can become active again. And once the temperature starts rising, especially within certain ranges, they can multiply quickly. This is what makes defrosting different from what most people assume. It's not just about turning something frozen into something soft. It's about controlling how quickly and how safely that transition happens. And this is exactly where the most common mistake begins. Leaving chicken out at room temperature. It feels like the easiest option. You take the chicken out, place it on the counter, and let time do the work. No planning, no effort. But the problem is how uneven the thawing process becomes. The outside of the chicken warms up much faster than the inside. While the center is still frozen, the outer layer can already be sitting in a temperature range where bacteria grow rapidly. And because there's no immediate sign of danger, it feels like everything is fine. But that's exactly what makes it risky. Because the danger is invisible. The chicken may look normal, smell normal, and feel completely safe to use. But the conditions for bacterial growth may already be there. And once that process starts, it doesn't reverse just because you cook the chicken later. That's why this method is consistently considered unsafe, even though it's one of the most common habits. So if that's not the right way, what actually works? The safest and most reliable method is defrosting in the refrigerator. This method keeps the chicken at a consistently low temperature while it slowly thaws. Instead of the outer layer heating up too quickly, the entire piece defrosts evenly over time. It may take several hours or even a full day depending on the size, but it keeps the chicken out of the temperature range where bacteria multiply rapidly. And that's the key. It prioritizes safety over speed. There's also another advantage that most people don't realize until they start using this method. Flexibility. When chicken is thawed in the refrigerator, you don't have to cook it immediately. You have a safe window where it can remain refrigerated before cooking. That means you're not forced into rushing the next step, and that makes everyday cooking much easier to manage. But real life doesn't always give you that kind of time, and this is where most people start looking for faster solutions. The second method is cold water thawing. This approach works, but it requires attention. The chicken must be sealed in a leak-proof bag so that water doesn't come into direct contact with it. Then it's placed in cold water, not warm or hot. The temperature matters more than most people think. Warm water can quickly push the outer layers into unsafe temperatures, which defeats the purpose of doing it safely. The water also needs to be changed regularly to keep it cold throughout the process. When done correctly, this method can defrost chicken much faster than the refrigerator. But there's an important limitation. Once you use this method, you need to cook the chicken immediately. There's no waiting period, because even though the process is controlled, it still brings the chicken closer to conditions where bacteria can grow. And that means delaying cooking increases risk. Then there's another option people often use when they're in a rush: the microwave. It's fast, convenient, and built for exactly this situation. But it comes with trade-offs. Microwave defrosting is uneven. Some parts of the chicken can begin to cook while other parts are still frozen. That uneven heating can affect both safety and quality. The texture can change, moisture can be lost, and the final result can feel inconsistent. And just like the cold water method, once you defrost chicken in the microwave, you need to cook it immediately. Because again, timing becomes critical. At this point, a clear pattern starts to emerge. Every safe method follows the same principle. Control temperature, avoid the danger zone, cook at the right time. Once you understand this, the rules stop feeling random. They start making sense. But there's another factor that many people overlook, and it can be just as important: cross-contamination. As chicken defrosts, it can release juices. Those juices can carry bacteria, and if they spread onto surfaces, utensils, or other foods, the risk extends beyond just the chicken itself. This is why how you store and handle the chicken during defrosting matters. Keeping it in a container, placing it on a lower shelf in the refrigerator, making sure it doesn't drip onto other foods, cleaning surfaces afterward. These small steps reduce risk without making the process complicated. There's also another detail that changes how you think about defrosting completely. You don't always have to defrost chicken at all. Cooking chicken from frozen is possible. It takes longer, often about 50% more time, but it can be done safely as long as the chicken reaches the proper internal temperature during cooking. That temperature is what ensures any harmful bacteria are eliminated, and this gives you another option. Instead of rushing or taking shortcuts, you can adjust how you cook. But this only works if you understand the basic principle. Temperature matters more than convenience, and this is where everything connects. Defrosting chicken is not just a small step before cooking. It's part of food safety. And the difference between doing it correctly and incorrectly doesn't show up immediately. That's what makes it easy to ignore, because nothing looks wrong in the moment. But the risk is there, building quietly, depending on how you handle the process. Once you understand how this works, everything becomes simpler. You're no longer guessing. You're making decisions based on what actually matters. Temperature, time, handling, and when those three things are controlled, the risk drops significantly. So the next time you take chicken out of the freezer, don't just think about how fast you can defrost it, think about how safely you can do it. Because speed and safety are not the same thing. And choosing the right method is what turns a routine step into something that actually protects you. And here's the part most people don't expect. Once you start paying attention to something this small, it changes how you approach everything else in the kitchen. You begin to notice patterns. You become more aware of how food is handled, how timing affects safety, and how small habits can either reduce risk or increase it without you realizing it. And that awareness doesn't just apply to chicken. It carries over into everything you prepare. Because the biggest mistakes are rarely the obvious ones. They're the small, routine habits that feel too simple to question. And that's exactly why they matter. If you want more content like this that breaks down everyday habits in a way that actually helps you avoid mistakes most people don't even realize they're making, make sure to subscribe. Because the difference between something that seems harmless and something that actually protects you often comes down to the details people ignore.